Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sticks and Bricks, a podcast that takes you behind the scenes of luxury custom home building. With me, Sherwin Loudermilk, your host and president of Loudermilk Custom Homes, where we believe in the mantra, build it like it's yours. Have you ever wondered what goes into creating a custom dream home? Well, you're in the right place. In each episode, we'll dive deep into building science processes and construction business practices through interviewing leaders in the industry. We'll discuss the world of home design and construction by sharing stories, insights, and the secrets that make Loudermilk Homes the leader in Georgia and Western North Carolina. And here's something special for you. Stay tuned at the end of each episode for our Builder Pro Tips segment. We'll provide actual items and insights for you to use on your own projects, so you can turn inspiration into action. At Sticks and Bricks, we want to make your journey into luxury custom home building both informative and practical. So buckle up, get ready for a fascinating ride through the world of custom luxury home design and construction. Let's build something extraordinary together. Welcome to Sticks and Bricks.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining this episode of Sticks and Bricks. Today, I have a great person coming in today. It's Rob Zuelch with Subzero Wolf and Cove. Rob, thanks for joining.
Hey, well, welcome to be here. Glad to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and then what you do.
Well, obviously, I've been with Subzero Wolf and Cove for 24 years. Started with them actually right after 9/11, virtually 11 days after. I came from more the bar and restaurant scene, but got into the appliance world in 99 and joined Subzero in 2001, and just been a great company to work for. Just fantastic people, family owned. It's just been good. So
that's fantastic. Subzero Wolf, it's such a great brand, and I had the luxury of going up to your Madison, Wisconsin location, and I was blown away. I mean, it just, the facilities, the professionalism, the cleanliness, it was just first class. I really enjoyed that trip. So tell us, how did you actually get into this world of Wolf, Subzero, and high-end performance luxury appliances?
Well, honestly, I got married. I married my wife, who was in the restaurant business, and we knew we had to get out of that business. And I started with another company that was out there and got into luxury appliances and worked with some of the old shops here in Atlanta that like Home Expo back in the day, and some of the other ones that followed, and just really liked cooking. I love cooking, love the whole thing around culinary, always had a passion for food. Obviously, that's why I'm such a big guy. So, but just the food part of it, like making people happy. And frankly, the company just makes it easy. You know, they say you love your job, and I definitely have enjoyed it. They have been a very good company and a very good atmosphere to work in. So,
yeah, fantastic place. And we've been very loyal to Subzero and Wolf for many, many years. And it's the quality, right? The quality of your stovetops, this quality of your refrigeration and things of that nature. It seems like the technology of what you do is far above others. Specifically, you know, like the Subzero refrigerators, when I was on this tour, they talk a lot about how they can make your food healthier and last a little longer. Can you talk a little bit about the technology that goes into Subzero, and why should somebody spend more on a Subzero refrigerator than just a Frigidaire regular refrigerator that you pick up at a Home Depot?
Well, it's interesting, you know, in the 80 years, the company was really born when our founder really was a commercial restaurant. Basically, he did commercial refrigeration. He was doing milk pasteurization, but really was out of need for his son, Bud Bakke. And frankly, he was needed to store penicillin. His son had diabetes. So it was really based on storing medication. And they started getting into refrigeration. And because he was an engineer by trade, really had the opportunity to learn refrigeration and build this category that really never existed. And, you know, the built-in refrigerator was a category that had not been seen until, you know, later in the 60s and everything else. And just design went a little crazy. It helped with the food preservation, being kind of surrounded by cabinets and insulation and walls and everything. And really, he said, never stopped building a quality product. He said, if you build a quality product, you'll always have a customer. And the reality is he doesn't sway from those values. Even today, in an era where, you know, today it's almost like a society that is built around disposable. phones are disposable, computers are disposable, TVs are disposable. He wants to always build a quality product, and he tests things to last 20 plus years. He just builds a quality product. He gets involved with designers and installers and servicers and even the engineers. And when he develops a product, he doesn't concern himself with the overall cost. He wants to build the best quality product he can, and then he puts as a price tag to it. So every other person that's out there technically kind of builds a product to be close to us from a cost perspective. We do not worry about that. We want to deliver on a promise to the customers to deliver great food preservation, longevity, and quality that stands the test of time. And that's really why you see Subzeros that are out there for 30 years and 35 years. And we're still building to that, which is unique.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, you're right about the food preservation, right? So the food preservation is incredible. And it's almost as if, and I don't understand the technology enough, but it's almost as if you're suctioning out the air. I mean, I know when I close a Subzero, I almost hear like a little bit of a suction, and then you're having to pull it back. Why is that so important?
Well, most refrigeration shares air. So I always laugh because most refrigerators, people have had a half a head of lettuce that was frozen or a frozen Coke can in the back of their fridge. But when you look at the commercial food industry, it's really not done that way. If you've ever been in a restaurant, the freezer is always separate than the refrigerator. Freezer doesn't want moisture. It wants dry air. So I always tell people and ask them, hey, have you ever had, icicles on your ice cream? Well, you don't technically get that in a Subzero. It takes a long time to get it because we don't put moisture there. But refrigeration is very important. I tell people, look at you, and when you get dehydrated, you have to have a glass of water. People put lotion on their skin. Well, when you look at a human, you're frankly a piece of meat. Well, meat requires moisture to keep it longer, to last longer. So we do this air purification system, and the whole system provides more moisture into the environment than any other fridge. So things don't tend to dry out. Your ground beef doesn't turn brown. Lettuce lasts twice as long in a Subzero. Strawberries, fresh fruit's going to last longer. And it really is this commercial food technology that we utilize in the trade. I always tell a little joke to my consumers. I talk about, a little banana, a little pineapple, and how they get here. Well, we don't grow pineapples and bananas in the United States, so they come from overseas, but they don't get a first class ticket like a piece of tuna. So the funny part is a pineapple gets picked in Hawaii, gets put on a boat in a box, comes over to San Francisco Bay or Mobile Bay or Savannah, waits for the Food and Drug Administration to let them in. Then that little pineapple then goes on a truck, gets taken to a distribution center, and then goes to a grocery store. And you ask a customer, what do you think their food loss is today? Well, in the commercial industry, it's virtually zero because they stop the ripening product by removing ethylene gas. So by doing that, the grocery store industry really has very little waste. It's only what's out on the shelves. And it was developed by NASA for the space shuttle, but the commercial food industry has been doing it forever. Florists use this technology. Think about it. We get flowers over here. Flowers are lucky to last a couple days. But think about a wedding party. They do these in these climate controlled environments that remove a lot of the ethylene gas. The flowers don't continue to open up and frankly pass away. They stay beautifully bundled. So when they do a wedding party for a whole week, those flowers all look perfectly the same when they take them to the wedding party. So the technology has been used in the florist industry, the wine industry, commercial food industry. We have just put it in a refrigerator, which nobody else does. And we're moving that air, which, being a home builder and building a quality product, you have to put these HVAC systems that are cleaning the air. And that's in essence what we're doing, is cleaning that air.
It's amazing. I still can't believe how much longer food can stay in your guys' refrigerator than just a standard refrigerator. It's absolutely amazing. Well, let's switch. We were talking about cold. Let's talk about heat. So Wolf is your stoves and your heating products. You have those beautiful red knobs in the picture behind you. And the branding of them is just absolutely amazing, because when somebody sees the red knobs, they instantly know Wolf. And it's a kind of like a sign of luxury. But tell us about your Wolf ranges and how they became kind of the gold standard and requested by so many people.
Well, it was interesting. So when Jim Bakke, who's the third generation owner of Subzero, wanted to introduce, cooking, it didn't make sense to call it Subzero, right? Because that doesn't really equate. So really looked at the commercial heritage of a company called Wolf Gourmet. Basically, it did commercial refrigeration, the stoves and everything, and they have beautiful red knobs on them. And we kind of took that product and we softened it for the consumer market. Most people think, chefs have all this control, but it's funny is they just, chefs can cook on a Bunsen burner. They really can. Consumers have a hard time cooking and holding and coordinating meals and entertaining. So when we developed a product, we wanted to put something out there that consumers, frankly, could control the cooking process. They could have better results, create better, more delicious meals for family and friends. And we really try to strive for that in every Wolf product. So the red's out there, but we have a lot of consumers now, you doing the brass and the stainless, but they want some bling on there, and maybe they don't want the red because it doesn't match their design parts. But it really is the control in those Wolf cooking products that make the consumer gravitate to them. Because a lot of other brands are doing colors and doing some of these things, but when a customer really wants to be able to cook, and they don't want to cook all the time, some people do, but most consumers are cooking for their family and friends a couple times a month. They still want a great experience and know that they can use the product and not be afraid of it. Right. And that's what we do. We want, with Wolf, you can, is what we tell customers, because it has so much more control than our competition. And it's funny, is a lot of our technology that's on this isn't patented anymore. Other brands just don't do it. And I tell people, what we can do is hold anything. We can hold white rice, we can hold mashed potatoes, chocolate. You really can have control, and the volume doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a cup of sauce or, a gallon of marinara for a big family. You really can control the cooking process and holding it without it breaking or separating or burning. And that's really what we do. Is everybody gives you high BTUs or high output, but very few brands can deliver on the low side, which is where you bring a meal together and coordinate it. And frankly, when you're entertaining family and friends, you want to be entertaining family and friends. With Wolf, you can pretty much finish your cooking process and it just be holding. So you don't have to be cooking when the customers and your friends and family are there. So I think that's awesome, to be honest.
Yeah, I never thought about it in that way. The other thing that I love about you guys is you guys will teach us how to use it. So we can go to your showroom and literally you'll have a chef right there saying, these are the buttons and this is when you want to do this or that. That is such a great feature. I just love that. Love that option that you guys provide to the clients.
Yeah, and we do that in almost every major market. Every major market, like in the South, obviously we have Charlotte and Atlanta and Miami, but these showrooms are really for customer engagement and not just pre-purchase and get excited about cooking and, and entertaining, but it's really the post-purchase side, which is about 50% of what we do in these showrooms, is teaching them how to utilize their products, let them be engaged with somebody, not just a use and care manual, but something that allows them to, how do they make this, pound cake? There's about 1,000 pound cake recipes. I mean, Google it and you'll see it. And it's crazy is that we're really going to kind of help that customer through that journey, because most of them don't read the use and care manuals. Most of them don't want to go to a video YouTube. This just makes it easier, cleaner. We want a great customer ownership experience. And we tell people, if you work with Subzero Wolf, you're going to be a happy customer, because we don't want unhappy customers. We can, by all means, have a bad day. We can have a bad product. There's 1,000 parts in these things. But in the end of the day, it really is about making that customer's experience elevated.
Love it. Love it. Well, tell me, going a little bit further in Wolf, tell me about the difference between induction and gas. I mean, for me, I was always thinking gas, that's the great new thing. But with a lot of the new codes coming out and how great your induction technology is, and for those of you that don't know, induction is it looks just like a glass stove, but it's using induction technology to heat your pan faster. But tell me where the market's going and why is it shifting in one way or the other?
Well, I think induction it's not as understood. So there's a learning curve there, much like convection. Most people don't understand convection ovens and what they do differently. But induction is really cool because in Europe, they've been using it forever because it's super safe. It's super efficient. unlike traditional electric cooktops, once you get the temperature up on them, there's a burner. That glass is still extremely hot. So what happens is the ability to lower it is hard. But with induction, in essence, you don't have a burner. You have a ferrous metal, like a pan, call it cast iron or, an aluminum cord pan. The pan becomes the heating source. So there's no technical burner getting hot. It's getting the pan hot because it's creating this magnetic field that's exciting the pan molecules. So you can hold anything. It's super easy, but it boils twice as fast as gas. So the range is even bigger. And it makes cleanup super easy. People like the cleanness of it. It doesn't, like a lot of people see electric cooktops and they see those rings of burned. Well, you don't get that on induction because, again, the pan is the vessel, not the glass. So it's very efficient. It's good for the environment. It's safe. So a lot of times, people are a little bit worried about that because it is creating a magnetic field. But the pan, you can remove the pan from the actual induction element, and you can kind of put your hand on there and not leave, not burn your hand or scald it. It'll still be warm because the pan's reflecting heat. But in essence, once that pan's away for 2 minutes, that pop is cool. It's no longer radiating heat through it. So it's been hot. It grows twice. It grows almost double as fast as any other category. It's still a little slower in the South, but trendy markets, Miami, California's adopted it.
I know with the new codes, especially up north and then in California, they're trying to move away from having anything gas in the house, right? So they're trying to push through incentives and things of that nature, and then through making the code more challenging to have induction only. But I love induction. I have both. So I have a Wolf single tops, and then I have the induction off to the side. So when I want to boil something, I never use gas.
Right.
I pop it on the induction and it's boiling in no time. Whereas, gas is great and it cooks it quick, but nothing as fast as the induction. Induction is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I have a houseboat and I put an induction range on there, just a little 30-inch induction range, and we could do a full-blown shrimp boil on there. That's how cool it was. We're talking 3 pounds of pot with all this shrimp and sausage and corn and potatoes, and it was blazing. It's awesome. And so I'm a big fan of induction. The company has really pushed. We are launching a 48 induction range in the next couple months. So we've always had this 30-36, but we're going to have 2 distinctly different looks. We're going to have one that looks very contemporary to match that, sleeker, more cleaner lines. But now we're also doing a 30, 36, and 48-inch induction range that will have our knobs and give you the red knobs or the other brass and the stainless to keep that kind of Wolf alignment. It looks very much like the dual fuels behind us, except with pure glass. So very fun.
Can't wait to see that. That's great. So we talked about cold. We talked about hot. Now let's talk about cleaning. Tell us a little bit about your Cove dishwashers.
Well, when you look at the industry of dishwashers, it's really, like you said, code and government has really done some things to dishwashers to change them. It was funny is when you and I were growing up in kids, nobody complained about dishwashers washing and drying. And most of them, because they had bigger pumps and bigger motors, I equated to a car. It was like a V8 engine underneath the hood, and man, it would just power because the pumps and motors were so powerful. Well, the government's restrained a lot of the energy that these dishwashers can use. So what's happened is they now took these more powerful pumps and motors and they made them much smaller. So what's happened is all these dishwashers today, if you're doing a quality dishwasher, and there's several that are out there, they're all quiet. But we now in America have what I call dish wetters, which means there's a dishwasher that you wash the dishes beforehand to put it in. There's dishwashers where there's a few brands that do that well. When you look at some of the other brands like Bosch and some of these other, they do a good job of washing dishes tremendously. But what's not out there is good dish dryers. And so we took a concerted effort to get a dishwasher that was Great from a loading perspective. It really washed the dishes really well. You just have to scrape them. You can put them in dirty. It'll get on that caked on casserole off. But we made a dishwasher that really dries. So that was a big key goal for us. And then the other thing was we wanted to back it with our quality, which I think is the insane part, is that this dishwasher can have a 5 to 6 year button-to-button warranty, where most our competitors are 2 years or 1 year. So giving a customer 5 to 6 years of bumper-to-bumper warranty really gives that customer peace of mind and brings them a little closer to the family, based on the quality story. So it's built well.
That's awesome. And I've seen the Cove dishwasher work, and it really does clean well, but then you don't have all the spots all over it because it's drying it also as well. And it's fantastic to be able to have that and not have spots on your dishes or your glasses as you take it out. All right, well, as far as brands go, you guys, the Appliance behind you is a very traditional, old school way of looking at the Wolf. It's kind of like your top of the line. When people look at that range, they know that this means Wolf. But you also have different models to support different looks and feels. So tell us a little bit about your different models. You have some models that look like the Wolf range behind you, but you also have some modern things and you have some different stuff. So tell us a little bit about those.
Well, modern, it just continues to grow. And I come from a very modern area in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And it's funny is there's some people that have that more traditional look. But when you talk about people that want that real sleek, call it European look, and it just cabinets, not even hardware and everything else. So we made a lot of different styles. We even have some handleless ovens. And we did that so to keep them cleaner and to fit more the design opportunities that the designers you work with every day and all these other designers out there that they want modern, we can deliver. It doesn't have to be that red knob, more pro, call traditional look. So we've been working to continue to elaborate that line and make it bigger. So really wanted to get a little bit more trendy because, again, customers have different tastes. They have different wants and needs. So we wanted to make sure we had a product that fit that from a looks perspective to fit their design choices. So we would definitely moved into the more modern space, but not walking away from where our heritage is.
Right. And we've obviously installed more of those ranges behind you than anything else, but we have installed the more sleeker looks, where it's all just panel ready and, it looks like it just goes away. The appliances are kind of mapped in with the new look and feel of that modern European feel, and so it's just really custom to the client's needs and desires, right?
Well, I'm sure your design teams are seeing that too, correct? You're seeing more of a modern movement, I guess, I would think. And so you build in a few different areas. So it's, I know in Atlanta, I think some people are fighting, but we're seeing more modern everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Even, we build in North Carolina mountains and they're calling it mountain modern. So
wow.
Sometimes you can get away with mixing and other times people say, no, I want the sleek look. So it's a great thing about your product is you have a little bit for everybody, what they want. Well, let's talk about some of the latest and greatest things coming out. I know you mentioned the Induction cooktop, the 48-inch. What else do you have that the clients can be looking forward to in the coming 6-12 months?
Well, I think we're always going to push the envelope on design. 6 months, 12 months, but we won't give a timetable, but we're always looking for more point of use and how we can fit more into design and integrate into theirs. So we're looking at everything from refrigeration, ice machines. We're looking at creating our own versions of that in a couple different fields. The big push, we're launching another dishwasher, which we haven't had in the lineup, which was an ADA compliant dishwasher to marry up from a design perspective. So those are all launching as we speak. The ADA is more when they don't want to handle, they want to do that J channel they talk about, and then 6-inch toes. So definitely catering to more the Miami market, which is very heavy 6-inch toe, modern. So we're moving a little bit into there. And then we're always advancing the technology with our Wolf Gourmet, doing a lot of upgrades to products to be a little bit more not only innovative, but user friendly when it comes to working with, Alexa and Google or whatever it may be. So a lot of what we continue to push for the next 6 to 7 months is going to be that. And then slowly we'll be pushing outdoors. We're going to push harder into outdoors. We see a good market there as a secondary kitchen, entertainment, especially in our coastline divisions, which, we want to obviously do well on the inside space, but the outside space, we're developing products that don't have to use stainless fronts. So people can use that tech material. They can use different outdoor cabinetry on, different sapiles and ipe woods. So we're really pushing the envelope of design on the exterior of the home and outdoor, which is pretty unique and hard to do outside when the sun's blazing down on your barbecue and it's 120 degrees. That refrigeration's got to work differently.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. In Atlanta, clients ask me a lot, hey, can we have outdoor refrigeration, outdoor ice machines? And I warn them, I'm like, hey, listen, this is Atlanta with the humidity issues and things of that nature. You're going to struggle. So I'm really happy to hear that you guys are putting a lot of attention towards that. I can't wait to see that lineup when it comes out.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and you'll of course get a sneak peek. So
There you go. Well, if somebody wants to learn more about Subzero Wolf Cove, where should they go? Who should they reach out to? Kind of give you the audience kind of directions on how they can buy more Wolf, Subzero, and Cove.
we really want to get them to our showroom, so they can look up Subzero Wolf Cove showrooms in whatever market, major city they are in. We really want to get them into, a consultation and then determine whether they want to go through a pre-purchase arrangement or a post-purchase. Our showrooms are a driving force for us because that's where the customer really gets educated and then really realizes they got resources. So as we talked about before, we're really going to push, like our new showroom opens up in Atlanta and soft opening in probably July, but definitely open full tilt in August and moving forward. Our showroom has been down for a year because we wanted to get it updated to today's design. We want to keep it current. We want to keep it exciting and cutting edge. And there'll be some cutting edge looks in there from a design perspective. A lot more of mixed materials with stone and woods and all these different things. So we really want to push the envelope of design. We're going to push the envelope on the consumer engagement and how we engage with them. And then really make sure that customer feels at ease with our processes. Because I think a lot of times the processes, they get lost, and the tools that they have get lost. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people don't know about our Wolf Gourmet and our ovens. And our Wolf Gourmet is kind of, I call GPS for driving, but for cooking. And, so we want to make sure that education is there, design is there, and that we're engaging the customer so they know they have a valuable resource. And that takes pressure off of you guys and everybody else, because if we can take those calls and how to use this or how do I clean this, makes your life a lot easier, whether it's the designer, the builder, the dealer. We just want to take that ownership of that with the client.
Now, and you guys do such a first-class job of it. I've actually been bummed this last year since you guys have been doing this massive renovation, but I can't wait to see it. But when we bring clients there, when we take clients to our vendors, showrooms, we're kind of managing that process as we go. I feel like when we come to your showroom, we just kind of drop them off almost. I mean, we're there, but you guys are taking them through everything. You're cooking for them. You're showing them how things work. You're really getting into the details of it. So I can't wait till that Buckhead showroom is open. But no matter where you are, you guys have locations across the United States. It's such a great feature, especially for high-end luxury, to be able to have what you guys have. So thank you for providing that. So with that, let's wrap it up. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience about Subzero Wolf Cove?
No, I really think just because, an 80-year customers, I try to tell people we're not just a brand. The brand has a lot of substance behind it. The support and service of it is unparalleled in the marketplace. And if they use our resources and our aids, which we want to make, like I said, that ownership experience exceptional. Working with you, for example, in multi-markets, multi-regional builders, we want to have the support for whether your clients, whether we do, we want to have events as well. We're trying to encompass every aspect of what the customer needs, because they have a lot of considerations and people helping them make these choices, right? They've got a designer, they've got a builder, they've got social media, they have friends, they have all these different avenues. And what we want to do is just make sure we're a resource for all of that to make the consumer process fun, but exciting, but we are matching their needs and wants, because I think it's imperative that people make good choices, that we're not just throwing the wrong things out there. We want people to look at how they're buying appliances for today, but how are they going to be living in 3 years, 5 years? How is that brand going to connect with AI and all this in the future? A lot of our products upgradable, service-wise. When we look at how we do things, we want to make sure that we're communicating with that customer from a service standpoint to make sure they're maintaining and they're doing things the right way. So their ownership experience is awesome. And it's a long one, because I tell people every day now on our products, it's funny, which I think we didn't really talk about, but we've introduced a couple new colors as well. We introduced a matte black and a matte white. But if a customer doesn't want stainless any longer and they want to put matte black on it, we can do some things now so that customer still has the best product, but we can continue to elevate the accessories on the product, meaning maybe that red knob and stainless steel, they want to have black to match those cabinets behind you, but they want to have brass bezels and brass knobs. We can do that now and change the look of our range and still not sacrifice performance and longevity of the product. It does not have to be disposable. So, I think the whole pre and post purchase is what makes us different. It's why we enjoy our relationship with Loudermilk Homes and why we want to do events for just your teams to have specific events, or, obviously they can join our other open events. But this is what we want to do, is continue to engage our builder friends, our design friends, and make sure that the customer just feels at ease every step of the process. So,
well, it's been such a pleasure working with you these last few years, and looking forward to a lot of great years in the future. So thank you, Rob. Thank you so much for joining and kind of talking a little bit about your products.
Sherwin, we appreciate the opportunity, and we love our relationship with Loudermilk Custom Homes. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching Sticks and Bricks. Stay tuned for Builder Pro Tip segments coming up next.
And that concludes another episode of Sticks and Bricks. I hope you enjoyed our journey into the world of custom luxury home design and construction. Before we say goodbye, let's dive into our Builder Pro Tip segment, where we've broken down today's episode into actual items. Remember, turning knowledge into action is the key to making your dream home a reality.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching. For today's Pro Tip segment, really focus on the client's needs when you're looking at what type of appliances to get them. Understand if they are a gourmet chef, or do they love spending time in the kitchen and things of that nature. But the most important thing is, if you're going to go Subzero Wolf, go to the showroom. It is one of the best things you could possibly imagine, having one of their chefs cook for you right in front of you, and they can talk about all of the different aspects of what you get. They can literally cook on the induction versus the steam oven versus just the regular oven, and show you the features that it has that you may not understand because you're just looking at a knob. There's actually a lot of things behind the scenes. So the pro tip is go into this center, let them do their job, and teach your clients how great it is to use Subzero Wolf. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
I hope you found these tips valuable. If you have questions or want to share your experiences, please reach out. We're here to support you. Thank you for being part of Sticks and Bricks. And stay tuned for more inspiration. Make sure to subscribe below. Until next time, I'm Sherwin Loudermilk, signing off. Thank you for listening.